My name's Pat Sheridan. I'm co-founder and managing partner of Modus Create. We're a consulting company that works with a lot of global multinational firms.
My name is Jessica O. Matthews, and I'm the founder and CEO of Uncharted Power. Uncharted Power is a sustainable infrastructure company.
My name is Amanda Skura. I oversee the digital experiences technology team at Audi of America.
Doug Kushin. I am the director of modern retail at Audi of America, and me and my team are responsible really for modernizing retail in the automotive space for Audi.
Who I am has been shaped by the fact that I've spent a third of my life with a startup mentality, right? And I think that's important, especially people who are joining, who are saying, well, I'm not interested right now in founding my own company. I'm not interested in joining a startup. That's actually a massive mistake. And I imagine this is the reason why you formed this panel this way. A startup mentality is really just a comfort with discomfort and a willingness to focus on the true north of what's really going to lead to disruptive change. The kind of consistency in which someone is uncompromising about their mission, but then very much flexible in terms of how to get there. And so for me, I've been very uncompromising about my mission since I entered this space. I always believed that sustainable infrastructure should be a human right. It should be universally accessible.
Actually, I remember reading somewhere that Steve Jobs says that he thinks that about the difference between successful entrepreneurs and the not so successful ones is mainly down to perseverance. So I kind of would put it towards perseverance. Now, that to operate as a startup, you have to be comfortable with being discomfortable. In other words, it's a high-risk environment. You have to be open for flexibility, for rapid change. Now, if we want to collaborate with, let's say, more the older industries, which I don't mean in a negative way, that's basically like the opposite.
Technology changed the way we lived and worked maybe once every 10 or 20 years. And so from a business perspective, you could have a status quo business model for a very long run. And I think when we got to the internet age, that timeline has been changing. So when I think about my role in startups in the late 90s, you needed to raise 2 years of capital to build the product, launch it, ship it. And the equivalent to build the apps we were building 20 years ago would probably take a weekend now.
For me, what's been successful is starting to bring some of that incremental change into the organization first, right? Starting to kind of partner with people in the other teams to say, hey, what did we consider maybe working differently? Did we consider thinking about these differently? I do believe that the radical innovation and the change will come, right? But it's a little bit of teaching and educating along the way, because it's not the way everybody thinks.
What can we do to help customers during this COVID time period and also leverage the work that we've done to bring forward new innovation throughout our dealer network in a very rapid way? Something that would normally take our organization about 9 months took about 5 weeks. And a lot of that was we had built on pilots we had done before and successes that we knew we had with testimonies from partners we'd work with. And then instead of working in our traditional fashion, we were able to build basically a product team around this concept of out at your door with Amanda's leadership and drive that forward. And so I think that what you can do is within large organizations like ours who have a lot of assets, who have brand cachet, et cetera, you can build these corners of the business, so to speak, and get everybody on board to work in a more nimble startup way.
So a lot of the struggles that we've had in the past is potentially doing software development around one small thing, launching it, realizing it was a great pilot, but it just doesn't have those legs or those seeds to be able to scale. It takes a village to really deliver these experiences to customers and bring these innovations to life. And I think that is really pulled directly from that startup mentality and that entrepreneurship.
You kind of get pulled in to engage with the corporate more because they're getting a sense that they're going to get some heat for not being diverse. And so they're like, oh gosh, what can we do? And a lot of times corporations will kind of have a program where they'll pull, a diverse startup founder in, but they won't actually do anything other than kind of like parade them around. That happens way more than you think. And they'll have all these conversations and be like, thank you for being here. And you're kind of like, I didn't just come here to have coffee with you. I thought we were going to grow our business. And so that's a big issue where oftentimes the incentives or, what's driving the interaction, it's not actually aligned.
You know, there's an argument about culture. Is it come from the, you know, the leadership team? Does it come from top down? Does it come from bottom up? And I think the answer to that is yes. And what I mean by that is it has to come from both. And I think what we've found, at least recently, to be successful is that you get a leader or an executive sponsor who says, listen, I know the way we do things is too slow and doesn't work. You've got an idea on how you can organize and do things a little bit better. Let's try that out. I'll let you run with it. I'll trust you, even though I'm not familiar with it. And then you build that culture from the team that worked on that product. And I'm specifically talking about Out of Your Door. They see, wow, we can work a lot better. We're empowered. We get quick decisions. We're moving much, much quicker, and we can see the output of our work in a real tangible way. And so I think then that conversely leads back to a culture change in the mind of the leadership who let you do that, and then that spreads across the organization. But
The work is never done. Like I used to think in the early days of being an entrepreneur and in scaling Modus that there was this plateau that I would reach at a certain headcount size or a certain revenue amount where I would realize, oh, we've hit this plateau of maturity and now we are a mature company. And I've realized that every time I set one of those numbers and we grow, I'm like, nope, just bigger problems or different challenges. And so the idea that for culture to work, the work is never done.